Hello and welcome into the SorareData Game Week 420 preview. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined today by Quinny, who I think is going to be pretty excited about this midweek. I looked ahead. I'm just going to say I think there's going to be a little bit of excitement. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody for coming in. SR Monkey first. We'll try to front load the show. I mean, really, the whole story is going to be about Quinny today, so we'll just do that. Bennett said they were hoping for an SR Monkey DNP so they could be first, but got to try harder than that. Ricky, what's up? Ian, hello. It's Wilson. Charlie, guys, thanks so much for coming in. We give all the fist bumps. I still, the mailman. There we go. But anyway, let's just jump right into it, Quinny, because when you go to the Game Week Center and the Matchups tab, you just see exactly what you always want to see. Celtics right on top.
Yep, that's it. So, yeah, it's funny because midweeks, I know the short time we've been doing the preview show, but just in general anyway, we always kind of look at midweeks as like free hits almost. You know, if you've got something in a midweek, and this is the kind of midweek we're thinking about when we say that. It's not necessarily Champions League or Europa Conference League, that kind of thing. It's more these, like what you guys call on this channel very well, an island game week, where there's just a wee spot on the calendar and there's only a few guys running. And yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting for a few of us.
Looks like you're going to have a few guys running this week, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I've only got 3 goalkeepers and like 3 strikers or something. So I'm like quite narrow in my bandwidth, if you get me. But like the strength is there. Obviously, it's all Celtic basically. But yeah, right on top. And I think like as far as matchup tabs go, like St Mirren are one of the informed teams in the league at the moment. I don't think they're second anymore, but they're definitely right in amongst it. And even under Postecoglou, St Mirren did give Celtic some problems last year. You know, it wasn't, any team that we dropped points off of. I think it was probably St Mirren last year. So it's not going to be, just a walk in the park, let's say. Mm-hmm. But I think as far as Sorare goes, if we walk out with a 2-0 win, most people will probably have some good scores backing them up. Particularly for how thin the field is, it'd probably be just about good enough for a result like that.
Yeah, I think it is kind of important to recognize that like while Celtic have, at least from an odds perspective, like the best matchup of the game week, that doesn't mean it's like the best matchup ever. Like it's just that it's comparatively to the other ones. We talked kind of numerous times about, and everybody seems to be talking about how awful Ajax have been. They're the second biggest favorite. And so it kind of gives you just an idea of what the game week could be like. Like you said, we do call them, kind of like these island games. And this type of game week is exactly why, or when like stacks and collections pay off the most, because if you have a Celtic stack or an Ajax stack, like, all of your players are going to play. And if you happen to get them in a matchup that is really favorable, when there are not that many other favorable matchups, that's when you want to have your cards. So there is no second division Europe.
Ooh.
And there is no Asia. America has Brazil Serie A, Liga MX, and some MLS playoffs, which the playoff stuff is always a really weird one. So this current round for MLS is best of 3. So if the same team wins the first 2 games, there is no third match. And so we're kind of in this weird bit. I think it was after Houston played RSL this past weekend, Black brought it up and he's like, if you're Houston and you're so good at home, do you even travel to Salt Lake to play the second? Like, if you know that the third game is at home, why even try to win the second one away at altitude in Utah? And it's kind of like, it's an interesting point. I don't think teams will do that. I think they would prefer to have like the third game off. But it is kind of like this weird thing to think about, that because it's best of 3, the teams that won the first match and have the third one at home maybe don't go quite as hard in the second one.
I think there's definitely a bit of logic there if maybe the first game is super tight. If you know what I mean, if the first game's like a draw or something like that. Or is there penalty kicks if it's a draw? Is that the way they... No.
This one
is that the third match to do that?
No. There's no extra time in this round, in any of the 3. Yeah. But next round, they do have it because it's a single match.
Sorry. So yeah, maybe if the first game's a draw, then I don't know, maybe there's some kind of implications like that, maybe. But like I say, I can't imagine preparing for a game thinking about we'll play them again and we'll try next time before you've even played it, So I find that, I know altitude is a difficult away journey. I get that, but if you score in the first 5 minutes, then you'll be kicking yourself, So I don't see that shaking out, but I do think there is definitely going to be some interesting dynamics on rotation depending on how game ones go potentially, because and maybe the draw, maybe that's the thing we're looking for, because there'll be a third match. And
so they can't draw. It goes.
Can't draw. They do penalties.
Penalty.
Yeah, they did. So I got you. So
it's a new format this year, and every round is different, which just like the rules are different in every round, which just seems so stupid to have like a single playoff. But they're like, okay, in this round you can draw, and in this round, well, actually there are no draws. But like in this round you go to penalties. In this one you go extra time and then penalties. This one you play 3. No, but the next one is just 1. Yeah, classic MLS. But anyway,
busy.
Yeah. So I think it's LDU is the highest favored licensed team.
Yeah.
Flamengo, Monterrey, Internacional, Bahia, and Toluca are above them technically in the odds, but I don't think any of them are fully minted. So Nep will be happy, I guess. But we've got Columbus at home against Atlanta. Sao Paulo's not minted. Mineiro, who used to be. Club America, Cruz Azul, like this. If you have Liga MX, if you're like a heavy Liga MX gallery, you'll have plenty of lineups this weekend. As Andy Black is sitting there, like, yep, or not this weekend. Excuse me, it's midweek.
Yeah, I think LDU is probably a great shout there when they're at home, but normally their odds are really off the charts. So maybe that team's halfway decent. Columbus Atlanta will be good fun. But yeah, the rest of those games, again, with League MX, I'm not too au fait with it. But when I see those matchup indicators, defender, midfielder, they were all quite amberish, quite yellow. There wasn't any clear, they should smash this team. Like, one there's get 19 in midfield. Is that America? Leona's got 7 for an attacker. Tigres 7 for a defender. There's nothing there, but it's like, that's a great game for whoever. They're all quite fair fights, it looks like.
Yeah, nothing jumps out that makes me think, I'll line up these guys instead of or against the Celtic ones. Jonathan said LDU won Sudamericana a few days ago, so they'll rotate this game week, which maybe that's the reason that the odds are a little lower. So I guess perhaps, they beat Fortaleza, right? That's who they were. So there's that. Oyston's asking about news on Carlos Gil. I have not seen anything yet, but I'm kind of assuming he doesn't play the next match after leaving injured this past weekend, but I haven't seen it. So, but yeah, nothing's. I'm going to say
I do like Columbus at home. If there's no Almada, there's somebody in the comments saying there's no Almada. If that's the case, I really like Columbus. Like Columbus are really good, and if Atlanta don't have their teeth, then
Almada's suspended for this one because he got a red card in the last match of the regular season. So if you're Atlanta, do you just say we're not going to win this one without Almada and you just rotate everyone? Give them a rest before they play at home next match where he will be back, and then away in Columbus for game 3?
Yeah, so like that kind of situation, maybe you start the game like 95%, let's try and win the first match. And if you get to like halftime, 60 minutes, and you're 2 or 3 behind or something like that, maybe you go, right, regroup troops, retreat, and we'll get them back in Georgia, kind of thing, or something like that. So yeah, I could see that one happening. Perhaps Atlanta don't feel like a good play this week. I do fancy Columbus to do pretty well because it's a confidence thing as well. See, as soon as I know they know it going into it because he's suspended, like you said. But if you're Columbus and Almada's not on the team sheet, everyone is walking a foot taller before that game. A bit more confident, just a wee bit more that they can do it. So I think Columbus could be quite handy this weekend or this week.
Yep. I think that's fair. Challenger, I mean, when they're at the top, actually, there's no champion this week as well. So no second division, no Asia, and no champ Europe. So Dominic here saying Celtic and All-Star Challenger prize pool is rubbish this week. I mean, they're the biggest favorite of the entire game week. So it feels like if you're going to you may as well try to use your Celtic players to beat everyone because there's really no one else that's that big. We don't have, like you said, there's no Champions League. So we don't have, Bayern at home against Copenhagen or something like that. And so Yeah, I think we're all just competing for second now against Quinny. That's all.
So see, looking at the fixture list there, as you see it in front of you, right? Ajax should do something against Volendam, like on theory, right? And on paper, they should beat them and all the rest of it. But Hibs drew 0-0 at the weekend there with Celtic. They did get beat off the Rangers the weekend before, quite comfortably, it must be said. But when I seen Hibs at the weekend, Hibs are actually pretty tidy. And Hearts, although we beat them the week before, again, very good team. And they're both at home to Ross County and Livingston, both teams that are actually pretty bad away from home. So Hearts and Hibs have actually got pretty good fixtures. And like I mentioned, the Celtic are great at home, even better. At midweek, Celtic are undefeated in the league. I remember this statistic from last season, but it's obviously aged and I've not updated it. But since like 2016 or something like that, Celtic, if they play midweek in the league, win every game basically, which is fine. But St Mirren are tough. And, if Hearts beat Livy 4-0, then like the leaderboards will look different. It won't just be me at the top or whoever else is in the hoops.
I think that's completely fair to say that. I guess we should also just mention that the Ajax Volendam match is the only non-Scottish Premiership challenger match this game week. It's not a full Eredivisie game week. It's just that one match, which was originally a midweek, like, what was that, 4 weeks ago? But when Ajax and was it Feyenoord got postponed because people threw flares on the pitch, then they moved that one to midweek, which moved this match to this midweek. So it is a bit of a one-off there. And I think what you said is really important, though, that, yeah, if Hearts all of a sudden come out and win 4-0 and Celtic win 3-0, it's possible that the Hearts lineups could outscore. Hendo's got a question specifically for you, Quinny, which I think is I think the biggest question this entire game week is where is Quinny going to play his lineups so that we can just avoid that. But anyway, Hendo's asking, with 5 super rares, 3 Celts, 2 Hearts, can he top 10 all-star super rare?
How many entrants are there? Let me have a peek at that. It's probably a good question because top 10 is the money places. So it's in these all-star divisions, that's probably the first place you want to try and aim. 57 entrants at the moment. It's tough to say because see, the one thing that I do find to take myself out of in these game weeks, which is maybe something that everyone joining the stream can, if they've got teams themselves or if they don't have teams, can go on with, is you are trying to put yourself in the position of the competition here, really. Like, so if you're thinking about the nosebleed divisions, like super rares and whatever, it's maybe still true for plus divisions and that kind of thing. But you're thinking about, right, okay, how many Hearts like goalkeeper cards are out there? How many Hibs goalkeeper cards are there? How many Celtic are there? How many Ajax are there? Say they're the 4 main competition there. And, obviously it's harder at limited and rare to try and think about this as you go up kind of thing. But it's one of those ones where gauging the strength of your own team is the easy bit. Gauging the strength of the field is almost impossible. And I think, like, in theory, that team should probably get into the top 10, right? But if there's 4 Hearts, like full heart stacks out there, and they get all the decisives, and with your 2 Hearts players, you get one of them, then you might not. So it's a funny one. But I do think Hearts and Celtic are probably, like, because Livingston and Ross County are very home biased teams, but both very poor away. But Livingston's is at home, they play on like a different surface. It's like one of these crappy plastic ones. So it's even of more of a different scenario playing when they go away, So I think Hearts and Celtic are probably right in amongst it. And as a combo, it should be top 10 capable, but hard to say.
Let's see how well Hendo can do.
But a lot of people are saying to me in here as well about regions, right? But again, a big part of this that's missed, right, with these types of game weeks, right? If you don't have like a Hearts team, a Hibs team, Ajax, Celtic, whatever your budget is, I've still got a team that I can pair out this game week, and I've pretty much always got most of a team that can go out this game week with the size of my gallery that's like bits and pieces. Maybe they're not all starters, but they've all got a fixture, and maybe we can rummage something together. And for how little there is in these island game weeks, like if you kind of do that bird's eye view of what we're just talking about a second ago, how many playing goalkeepers is there at every scarcity this game week? Like it's very minimal, And then alongside those keepers, how many of them have got a full 4-man starter complement next to them? You then whittle down a huge part of the field again. So, and again, I think we spoke about this before, Laird, when we were talking about 220, right? But when you look at Challenger and you might think like, oh, there's not many prizes there or whatever, right? But winning something's better than not winning something. So this game week, like cap modes, Challenger, All-Star, under 23, whatever it is you're thinking might be the angle or whatever. It's, don't think about, oh, it's only a tier 2 if I get in the top, whatever, or I only get this if I get, because, it's that or nothing, because if you don't play that, this is, there's nothing else to play this week. If you know what I mean, it's just, you've just got to see what are the targets, what is there, and kind of forget about like, if I win cap 220, then I'm only getting a tier 3. Well, it's like, well, you're not going to win All-Star with your team. It's rubbish. That's why it fits in 220. You're not going to win Challenger, et cetera, if you get me. So don't worry too much about Challenger. Maybe there's other things you can be looking at. It's kind of what I'm swimming at now.
I wanted to bring up this point from JC here. Said there's more money for finishing 30th in All-Star compared to 3rd in Challenger. So 30th in All-Star gets $65. That's All-Star rare. And then Challenger podium 3rd is $50.
Huge. Now that only means something if you've got a team that can get 3rd or 30th. If you've got a team that's going to finish 30th in this division or 60th in the other one, then it doesn't matter. So it's how good is your team, and then it's that missing part of the field we're trying to work out. But I think we can quite confidently say idiots like me that have got like big power teams and all that kind of stuff, Ajax stacks that are out there, which we've not really spoke about so far, they are going to be chasing this type of thing primarily because they are very ROI centric. But let's say 80% of people in the middle are doing this thing now, and it's like, oh, 3rd place in Challenger isn't even the same as 30th in All-Star. And then you've got 80% of people writing it off, if you get me.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know how many people watch the show. It's not going to be everyone that enters. So anyone that does watch this, that's the sort of thinking you do have to put into this a little bit. It's like, it's what could be actually won, not, oh, that's not as good as this, because you might not win the other thing because, competition levels.
I think that brings up the really good point that a lot of people focus on what they can theoretically win. And a big part of Sorare is making sure that you're competing against as few people as possible. Like it's easier to beat 10 people than it is to beat 100 people. And so just that, if I can only win $40 here. And it's like, well, what if there are only 8 people who are trying? Would you rather that? And the answer should be yes. Yes, I want to compete against fewer people, even if the upside, like if you don't have a lineup that you're like, I'm definitely finishing first, then sometimes it is just better to win what you can win instead of not win what you thought you could win.
Yeah, totally.
I swear that made sense in my head before I said it out loud.
No, I'm totally with you. And see, like the lineup strength indicator that we now get on the lineup builder, that's kind of what I'm always trying to compute in my head is like, this is a 79 rated All-Star team, but is it a 100% rated team in our division, or is this as good as it gets? And it's not like, oh, well, the prizes in All-Star are better, but it's, it's where's the team actually going to deliver? Where's it going to bang the hardest? There you go, for example. That's before this lovely tool was invented. That's the mental gymnastics I think you're always trying to do with lineup construction. And in these island game weeks, it's so fine because everyone who's watching the stream knows there's going to be people at the end of this game week that's going to win something brilliant with scoring like 80 points or having like one card in a team somewhere. That's going to happen. And everyone's going to be like, oh, how did I not play it under 23 or whatever? So there's always that wee bit of trepidation that goes through building teams as well that you're missing out on an easy win.
For sure. So Hendo, you had a 79 lineup strength for All-Star and an 89 in Challenger Super Rare.
That 89's punchy, isn't it?
Sure
That's big.
Is. It's tough.
Nice dilemma to have, isn't it?
Yeah. Must be nice indeed. So you mentioned what goalkeepers are playing this week. So in each scarcity. So let's see who we got here. Easiest way to do it is for using the pick scores, because anyone with a reasonable pick scores
protected to play, probably. Yeah,
exactly. So it is a decent list. In fact, that's already much longer than I thought. Wow. It
So
almost
South
feels like,
American ones, they're
yeah, it's a
sneaky.
lot of American ones. Yep. Which is part of the reason why Hendo's lineup was so much better in Challenger than it was in All-Star, because he's not playing against a lot of these. Like the Challenger, now this is just limited. Obviously, we're looking at his super rare lineup, but these are all of the Challenger goalies for the entire midweek. And I don't even
how
know
many
what
clean
the
sheets are going to be
situation is
there?
with this guy.
Mitov, he's apparently tidy. So I was talking to somebody who picked him up. I know St. Johnstone are rubbish, but apparently he's like a decent keeper, and St. Johnstone are just minging. Get hammered at the weekend, right enough, but apparently he's
Why
alright.
he might not start. I don't know. Jonathan said a lot of the South America keepers have a lot less supply than Europe because they were only licensed for one year, which makes sense.
There's sneaky so many of those ones because they transfer around. You know, there's just lots of cards now that are at random teams like Talavera and, you know, whatever else.
Yeah.
And
Rossi,
just
the top there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this list. There we go. That's the end. Carlos Acevedo against Maz. Is that? Oh, yeah, awaited Mazatlan. No, that's a fake pick score. He should be better than that.
I was going to say earlier when we were looking at the matchup indicators for the positions, just at the very bottom of the screen before we moved away from it, Laguna came on screen and theirs was actually popping. Like they looked like they were actually quite under ranked on that page. But I thought I'll bring it back up when it's convenient because we're talking about something else. But so Laguna, just with the idea, they were quite far down. They just came into screen before we moved away from it. Yeah, forwards of 12, mid 7, defender 6. That's like, it's a pretty good string, you know.
Well, speaking of their forwards, or a good matchup for their forwards, as we look at the All-Star Limited, Juan Brunetta from Santos is the only AAA forward in All-Star Limited this week.
Love it.
And I believe his midfield, I cheated and looked ahead. So Rossi somehow is the top one, but Brunetta's midfield card is the third best card of the game week. Jonathan said Joe Hart has 900 limiteds, but Everson and Rossi have 300, which, yeah, there's the easy difference right there when it comes to those.
Is that a column that you could add to this page?
How many cards there are?
Circulation, yeah.
That's a great idea. Let me write that down. I'm actually writing it down, by the way.
Love it.
With my Sorare NBA playoff notepad.
Show off. Oh, I got my mystery jersey delivered today, but I wasn't in the house, so it's been delivered to my neighbour.
Oh. Which, what was it, Champion Europe?
Champion Europe for 2 seasons ago, unsigned. And you know, I recorded me doing. Oh mate, I've still got it to come out, but I recorded me getting it and how I managed to get it. If you know what I mean. So that will come out hopefully in the next day or two. But it wasn't until afterwards to see the real kick in the teeth with it. I wasn't too bored. It's 2 seasons old or it's unsigned. But see, after I'd done it, I was so happy I won it. Then it was like 2-month cooldown, and I was like, I forgot about that.
But it's only. Sorry, yours is signed or unsigned?
Unsigned. Oh, so does
so
it
you can still do a sign. You're not, the cooldown's not for a signed one, at least.
Oh, yay. That's good then. I thought I'd done, as soon as I'd done that, I thought, oh, what a rookie mistake. I've just handcuffed myself for 2 months now. But no, that's good to hear.
Yeah. So rude. Can we get a starting sub filters for the pick score page? If you want to filter on win percentage or clean sheet percentage, the top results are littered with players that won't start. Maybe
a filter.
Yeah. Sure. I think we're trying to redo this page anyway. So, yeah, I'll write that one down too.
All-Star Super Rare. That's good to see.
Is that your lineup right there? McGregor, Kyogo, Riley, Taylor.
McGregor, Kyogo, Scales for sure.
Man,
that's fun. I'm buzzing for it.
I bet.
It's funny as well because last season, I think I went to 2 or 3 Celtic midweek games. Sorare sorted us out with tickets, and I was at least one with McBride, maybe 2. and see every one of them. Honestly, we did so well on them because it was like this kind of situation where Celtic were just playing, and we were at home at Livingston or something, we'd beat them 4-0. And so Celtic midweek's always great fun. I'm very much looking forward to it. And
I bet.
but I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I just, let's say we're writing off Ajax in real world, right? But Sorare-wise, at home at Volendam, like that could be a mess. Like that could just be like they could rain hundreds again for a game and beat them 4-0 or something. It's not beyond the scope. So again, I'm stopping myself from really, doing the victory lap before the teams are even submitted. But
you're not right. You're not checking the prize pool to see which player you're going to win this game week already.
I've had a wee look to see like where some Celtic supers are, that kind of thing. But beyond that, I'm not looking beyond it.
Yeah, Ajax did announce a new manager 3 hours ago. Charlie just brought that up, but I think it was Johanneton mentioned it earlier.
Nice.
So
I missed that.
If you're a new manager bounce kind of player, there you go. I will say that if you were a new manager for any club and your first game was home against Volendam, you'd be like, thank you very much for helping me get in here. So I jumped ahead to U23 quickly just because these midweeks are also some hairy trade specials. But we've got 5 under 23 goalkeepers for this midweek, which includes the 2 goalkeepers in the Ajax Volendam match, which I didn't know. And then they've got Zach Hemming away to Celtic, which feels like a poor matchup. In fact, none of them really have good matchups.
I'd say Will Dennis has got a great game.
Will Dennis does, away. That's a fun jersey.
That's what I was going to say, man. I like the kit.
It's like a liquid dream almost.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Kamara kits have never looked so good. But yeah, he's all right. Under 23. Didn't realise.
Yeah, not bad. A few more years too. I don't know anything about the guy, but yeah, he and then Schulte with home against Atlanta without Almada seems like a pretty good one to me.
Yeah. I think seeing that Ramaj is under 23, it kind of makes me feel a wee bit better because, again, some people might take their Ajaxes and go under 23 heavy with them. I don't think you can get a full team out of Ajax at the moment, could you? But you can definitely get a 3-4.
Avila
defense isn't a problem.
Yeah. So Ramaj, Avila, Vanden Boom, is he still? No,
that's a bit old up front, isn't it?
Taylor's under 23. But that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
this team stinks.
So, under 23 might be quite open. Goalkeepers, not many. Outfielders, not too sure what ones will be effective.
This feels like a week where somebody posts a screenshot that they want a reward without a goalkeeper.
Yeah, that could happen.
That could definitely happen. Under 23. I guess he could be one.
Paulinho for a forward card.
Mm-hmm.
I hope with Fortaleza, who have got a hangover as well. Also, we just mentioned that Sudamericana final.
Yep.
Abdoulaye Sima, good game for Rangers, playing Dundee. If anyone's got his card, he's not got many.
Looks like he's been doing pretty well lately.
Yeah, he's on loan from Brighton, and he's like, they've just hired Philippe Clement as manager at Rangers, former Bruges and Monaco boss. So they won the first game against Hibs like 4-0, and then they drew with Sparta Prague 0-0 midweek, and now they're going away to Dundee. So, or they beat Hearts actually at the weekend. I forgot about that as well. But so yeah, they've had a wee new manager bounce, and he was doing well, even under Beale, SO5 wise, he was getting goals and some decent AA and stuff. So yeah, he's a card to watch out for now.
No one really overly dominant. I mean, we're down in the A's now, so that's not going to be that great, other than O'Reilly. And I guess Morris could have a really good game against Atlanta.
Quite an open U23.
Yeah. We'll see what kind of shenanigans Harry pulls off this week. Luis said, just joined. Did we already talk about Flamengo? Not really, other than that they were the top. Were they the top America? I think they were top. Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't think they had that many cards, though. Oh, I guess they do have one of those weird ones where they
Everton
had enough transfers that, like, doesn't Ayrton have, like, where was he? Cheska?
Moscow.
Yeah. Oh, Dynamo. Moscow. Why not?
Spartak.
That's Spartak?
Yeah.
Oh, Dynamo's blue. Sorry.
Don't want to upset the Russians, Laird.
Yeah, you're right. Let's see. Why is CCV only an A? But let's find out. Scales is a triple A. Let's look at that. Why not? Depends what the contest is, but I'm assuming that they're both here. The double A, and then I think they're both double A in All-Star Limited.
All-Star. Is that cat mode he's maybe looking at? Has he maybe got confused?
Maybe. Yeah, Jay, what contest? Because they change depending on the contest.
I was looking at that Flamengo team there, Laird.
I was just going to say, let me go back to Flamengo. Sorry, what were you saying?
Team. There's a player in that team, see in midfield, his name's Polgar. See if you look at this guy's scores. He used to play for Fiorentina. He didn't get cards, obviously, but I don't know how good they used to be, but he definitely used to be really good for a wee while. If we see this, not as impressive as I thought he might have been. But Fiorentina, he was good. I thought he might have been better in Brazil. But, he's all right.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
But, it's a nice Flamengo team overall. As I seen his name there as well, I thought, tidy.
Yeah, that's enough. Oh, I forgot Araujo was there.
Yeah, Everton, Gerson. That's a strong team, man. Yeah, that's a really fun stack to build if you had the pieces for it.
To have no actual Flamingo cards, but you could build like a full stack here. I love that.
The thing I like about Gerson, Everton, even Ayrton, these types of guys, I see guys that are like good enough to go to Europe, but kind of didn't, and have just came back now just to be at a top club again. They're the sort of guys you want in Brazil. Mm-hmm. It's a really nice team.
Yeah,
good cards we can get from them.
Yeah, I mean they're up there. If you have a stack, it's going to be pretty competitive for the whole game week. Here against Sao Paulo. Yeah. Let's do a quick check of Cap 240. What do we got? Some more. There's like, this is wild to see a 62 L15 from Rossi still have a AAA in Cap mode.
Wow.
I wonder, I guess a 59 opponent score for a goalie is really good. So they must just Santos must just take a ton of bad shots that trickle to the goalie and they count as saves. Maybe a few of them dive a little bit and so they jack up their scores. Yeah, Berghuis number one, which he's been horrible this whole season, which is why his L15 is so low. Ugh.
He's kind of becoming. Some people might remember, but Berghuis made a move to the Premier League like a few years ago. He went to Watford or something like that, I think, and he wasn't that good before. I think that's how he ended up back at Feyenoord or maybe something else. But he's kind of. I remember him going to Ajax. I remember him being at Feyenoord and like scoring really well. And I remember thinking, this guy was like rubbish for Watford. I'm so surprised he's so good in Holland. And when I see these scores, I think, yeah, this is kind of who I thought he was, like in the first place, if you know what I mean. So
it kind of feels like when Tadic was at Southampton. Is that where he was? Like he was okay there, but then he comes back to Ajax and just is the best player on the platform. It's like, there's the difference right there.
Yeah. Big time.
You get David Marshall with a AAA thanks to his 37.
Yeah, he's been very effective this year for Cap.
Interval.
Even the boy Lewis Miller as well. Again, watching the Celtic game, if anyone does have a Marshall, that Miller played fantastically well at the weekend. He does look the part. He was against Luis Palma at Celtic, and I don't think that guy can dribble past anyone. So he's probably got like 55 duels won, this guy from the weekend. Because I know that Palma just can't beat a man. How many duels is 12? 4 interceptions. He just had that guy in his pocket. But he looked the part. And Big Rocky, he looked the part as well. He looked pretty handy. And then that guy, Will Fish in defence, I think he's on loan from Man United or is a Man United Academy boy or something.
There are a bunch of rare sales. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The community is taking notice for sure.
Yeah. Some people seen him bossing against Celtic. Oh, he's Australian. Maybe he'll get capped.
And he's got another year of U23 after this season.
He's a big unit of a guy, like a rugby player,
Switch over when he goes back to Australia.
Yeah, Aussie rules.
Right. Where was he? Let me see. On the U23 pick scores. He's got to be pretty high up there, right?
Yeah, probably.
Here he is.
Aye.
Third best defender. And mostly just from his relatively poor scoring history, like here. Not as much these three. Were those decisives?
No.
Jeez.
Oh, one of them is, yeah.
58.
But there's a lot of duels there. Let's see it. 19.
Jeez.
Do you remember when the Scottish League first came on? There was a guy called Paul McGinn. If you look at his form was off the charts. And when I drilled into his data, like his scores, it was like he was winning 25 duels a match and stuff like that. And I was thinking, Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, he had a good patch of form when they first came on. He was like a bit of a monster defender. He's still halfway okay. But it just seems sometimes in Scotland that some of the games, they just get lots of duels. You know, maybe it happens in the match, obviously, but it's just the style of football. And yeah, if you've got a defender that just scoops them up, there's 16 duels won. It's just mad. So
yeah, that is a lot. Yeah, just a full-fledged SPFL week. Charlie said this week is the Scottish holders is the equivalent of the Christmas period for Prem holders. I like that.
well, Charlie says that, but do you know who else also plays football all the way through December? The Scottish League. So it's not really Christmas time for Prem holders. It's Scottish time for it's Christmas time for all of us.
All right, let's see. Jay said on my SorareData, CCV is AAA, but like All-Star rare.
Ooh.
Let's see. Maybe there's
Is there a difference in rare then? Is that maybe a scarce issuance thing? Perhaps maybe there's less cards.
Yeah, it could be like a few cards that existed before there were limited cards, and then they went to like unminted. Both the same to me.
There's a gremlin in your system, Jay.
I don't know.
I'm picking Scales. I see them talking in there who they'd be picking, Vickers or Scales, but I'm picking Scales all day. Scales is the one that plays forward passes. Scales is getting all those forward pass points now, you know, that Starfelt used to get. Carl Vickers used to get a lot of them, but we had a lot of problems with keeping the defence fit. Sometimes Jens played. We had him last year. We had a bunch of people play last year. But when Scales is scoring big, he's getting all the forward passing. He's getting interceptions. He's getting duels won. Carl Vickers has not had a real run this season to get a gauge on any change to his scoring. But when you watch Celtic, like the ball goes to Scales and then it gets played forward most of the time.
I would guess the big difference is this, that just Scales has been playing more. And so because he's been playing more, these are in his L15 as opposed to these scores.
Fair.
That's all.
Liam
said my heart stack versus your Celtic stack in Super Rare, Quinny.
Bring it on.
Ooh, there we go.
I've got a level 20 unique running in it, so I'm feeling all right about it, you know. So I don't want to brag or anything, but I've had that thing for 2 years now. Level 20. I only noticed that yesterday because a bottler bar's been going around there. I don't know if you know this, but a bottler bar's been trying to buy some Celtic cards.
Ooh.
Yeah. Some wee birdies have been messaging me. Did you get an offer? And I'm like, oh yeah, I did get an offer. Did you get an offer?
It's this one, the McGregor?
Yeah.
Did you boost those at all? Or boost that one?
I think I boosted him when he was at level 17 or 18, I think. And yeah, the fifth man's a hard pick. Hatate is injured, but it's basically between Scales or Dyson. And you'll like this, Laird, but me and McBride did a watch along at the weekend. We were doing something, we were talking anyway, but I've got a name for my Scales and my Taylor, like combo play. Scalar.
I love it.
So maybe I play Hart and Scalar along with McGregor and Kyogo, or maybe I go take Taylor out and put Dyson in. I don't know.
Does Scales not have Celtic cards?
Not a super yet. Maybe he's got one super, but no. So I'm busting for it. Should be a good one.
Ooh, gosh, these cards are nice.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? They're really growing on me. The more the more you see them, the more you play with them. Especially rewards as well. I think they've done a pretty good job of, I won a Japanese card, so you still get that flying around. But they've done a pretty good job, I think, of giving like a lot of rewards. I see there's a lot of 3D everywhere very quickly. There's maybe I don't know if it's been pushed necessarily, but they've done quite well, like at least getting these things filled up and ready to go and issued out. The disrespect on Iwata is incredible.
I was just about to...
And I'm tempted, Sorare Josh, to put Iwata into my 240 this week because Hitate has I'm going to quote, he's got a hamstring tear, right? We don't know the grade of it, right? But that's the words that have came out. So Hitate's out, in my mind, for 6 weeks at this point. We'll wait and see what actually happens. But when I hear hamstring tear, 6 to 8 weeks is what comes into my mind straight away. So Paulo Bernardo, who has Benfica cards, he started at the weekend and he didn't impress, to be honest with you. So Iwata scored a lovely goal against Hearts at the weekend. If you didn't see it, it's like football porn. It was like, 17 yards out and he wellies it Laird. And it's like crossbar, bar, rifles right round the net. It's a upper zinger of a shot. So anyway, he didn't play at the weekend. He's got a lot of energy. I fancy he could come in. Maybe he sits deeper and McGregor goes into Hitate's position, or maybe he goes into Hitate's position because that's where he was when he scored the goal against Hearts. That's why I was bringing it up there. But, so I'm in two minds. It probably will be Bernardo. I think he'll give him the minutes again since he started them at the weekend. But I really do hope he does play Iwata. And I'm tempted that he might do it. And I'm tempted to put him in my 240 ahead of Mikey Johnson, who might come off the bench. But that's not much of a, it's not like it's two bad choices I've got in essence,
Yeah. No, that's fun.
So
Luis was asking if Turnbull should start.
I don't think so. Turnbull's out of contract end of season. And the fact that, I don't know. So Turnbull came on at the weekend quite quickly. Maybe he could, but it's Turnbull, Bernardo, and Iwata is the revolver here that you're trying to work out what's happening with. And Iwata's probably the furthest away on paper. Turnbull's had the most minutes. And Bernardo's only on loan. So there's not like, so I don't know. If I was the manager, I'd be picking Iwata. That's why I can't shake, if you know what I mean. And then the next thing I moved to was, Brendan's played Turnbull quite a bit. He does like Turnbull quite a bit. And then you just need to look at this guy. But since he's came in, Bernardo, he's got minutes. Since he's came in, he's come off the bench consistently. He's got a start at the first opportunity, essentially. So maybe he keeps him in again. So the midfield spot is probably hard to pick, which is why when it comes to Celtic midfield this week, it's only O'Reilly or McGregor you're looking at because there's, you can't take anything else really. Love it.
Luis said maybe we'll see each other on the podium in All-Star Super Air. I've got Rossi, Ayrton, Garrison, Kyogo, and an extra. I don't know if I'm going with Johnston or Preciado.
Ooh. Well, Johnson came off with a concussion at the weekend, or a suspected concussion. Like the ball got rattled off his face at point blank range. But all the word is it's green lights. It's all good. It was just a precaution kind of thing. So
those are the lights
I also
actually.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the way it was, mate. The ball hit him right off the face, and then like a minute or two later, the plays went on, and then he just went on the ground as if he was going to vomit. If you know what I mean, it was just like looked like he drank too much on a night out kind of body posture. But yeah, everyone says he's fine and whatever. So I wasn't too sure if there was a wee chance that Ralston would maybe start this game. But like I say, St Mirren are in third, so Celtic won't do that unless it's kind of needed. And if he's getting the all clear, Johnson, he's probably fine to go. But it's just something to maybe think about if you've got an either or situation.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Just trying to see if the challenger, like Quinny, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 top players in challenger are from Celtic.
It's good fun, isn't it? Defensive stack, but you're going to be playing double defense for that team probably. Maybe double mid, but yeah.
Well,
have you guys? Yeah. Oh, ouch. Oh, do you know what? I heard that. I heard the end of that story, and I stay away from things that are a bit like, that have involved blood and stuff. It just doesn't. I'm a bit too squeamish, so I didn't want to investigate on what happened, but I didn't know the guy died. That's horrible to hear.
I thought we were talking about a hockey player here.
Yeah,
I thought there was a separate incident happened recently also that had the same outcome. I didn't think this one was a cut. I don't know. I'm the same way. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Anyway.
Yeah, gives me the creeps.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's all we got, because when we're all playing for second, thanks to this guy, there's really not much to say. So thank you everybody for joining. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to this guy here. And yeah, if you have Celtic cards, I think you're going to be excited for this midweek. And if you have other cards, at least you have them. So there's that. So thanks for everyone for joining, and good luck this midweek.